everyone, it's Mystery Girl with Missy, and I'm Missy. Welcome back. Guys, I am here with my admin and moderator, Sally, who recommended this area of Staunton, Virginia, as well as the hospital we're going to today. Little did we know that there would be more than one. So I needed some help, and Sally jumped right in and helped me with the research. So thank you so much, Sally. Guys, give her a huge round of applause. I have up my copyright disclaimer, and I also have up my content warning. I need to protect myself. The videos and photos are used for educational purposes, and the information could be traumatizing to some. So guys, slam that subscribe, slam that like, and let's move on.
Welcome, Mystery Crew. This docu-series is a research collaboration between Missy and Sally. At the suggestion from Sally, we are going to Virginia, to the Western State Lunatic Asylum. If you haven't yet slammed that like button, go ahead and do it now. Show your support for Missy and Sally by helping get this video into the algorithm. Are you ready to go to Virginia?
All right, Mystery Crew. So before I go into this part of the series, I actually have a question for you. During the research, Sally and I did research to find out what all of the buildings were over at the old Western State. Some of them we were unable to find, but we did find most of them. And what was interesting is when we were doing that research, I actually had found that there was a building over there that was named after Dr. DeJarnette. I was not aware of that. I thought the Sanatorium was the first hospital that was named after him, but I learned during the research. So we did all the research on it, but I don't want to put a video together until I know if it's something that you guys would be interested in finding out more about. I know that a lot of, the paranormal community, a lot of you are in Virginia. If you want to know what each of the buildings are, because there is no actual chart, I actually had to go into the Virginia State Records to find what the buildings were. Wikipedia had a couple of them, but they didn't have many. So I went into the Virginia State Records and pulled up what the buildings were. So if you're interested in that, please comment below, and I'll put the video together. But I don't want to make a video that nobody's interested in watching. But for the paranormal community that does want to go out and investigate, let me know, okay? Also, be careful if you go out there, because there is no trespassing signs everywhere between the DeJarnette and the Peary. So just be careful if you do decide to go out there. But let's get back into it. So we're going to get into the DeJarnette Sanatorium, and we're also going to get into the Peary building, which actually had both me and Sally extremely confused for a while, because we knew that part of it was a children's hospital, but was it the DeJarnette Sanatorium because it had changed its focus, or was it the Peary? And I had called a museum that does tours over there and actually had purchased the land, and I had spoken with a very nice lady over there, and she told me that they are both, the Peary and the DeJarnette Center are both for children at the end of the term of the buildings. So that was very interesting for me to find out. She was so nice. They used to do tours there at the DeJarnette Sanatorium to show the abandoned, and also, so many people are interested in the hauntings and the paranormal, but they had to put a stop to the tours. And also there was also a couple of projects that was supposed to be done over there that the building was supposed to be changed into, but because the asbestos and the lead paint are so bad, nobody wants to touch it. And they actually had to stop doing their tours because it was just too dangerous for anybody going in those buildings to be around. And with all the peeling of the paint and everything, the walls are actually starting to cave in. And there's actually one of the concrete walls that the inside fell in, and it's kind of a scary place to be in at this point. She said that they had to stop the tours. So, just for anybody that's thinking of going over there to do an investigation, it is private property. Just be very careful because the buildings are dangerous. I actually had somebody that was willing to go and do an investigation for us. But we're going to use some of her old footage because the building's safety have changed so much since she was there previously. So that's going to be a later video, but I just want to put that out there. So guys, also slam that like button for me and Sally. We've seriously put so much time and research into this, just because it was so interesting with everything. So please slam that like button. Help us get these videos out into the algorithms so others can enjoy them. So let's go back to Virginia. A 1-hour drive of Charlottesville, Dr. DeJarnette convinced the General Assembly to build the DeJarnette Sanatorium with the philosophy of eugenics in mind. On the way into Staunton, up on a hill on Richmond Road, stands the DeJarnette Sanatorium. It was founded in 1932 as the special pay unit, meaning that it's not a state-supported sanitarium. It was a self-supported, semi-private mental hospital for the middle-class income adult patients. Now, the building has 4 stories, so it's 4 stories high. The DeJarnette Sanatorium was given a $100,000 loan by the Virginia state governor. I believe his name was Harry Flood. I am not 100%, but in the Virginia state records, that is the name that was associated as the governor that was associated with the loan for the DeJarnette Center. 2 years later, it became separate from the Western State Hospital. So in 1946, when it broke away from the Western State Hospital, it became a private institution for mentally ill and those with drug and alcohol issues, further addictions. In 1972, the sanitarium was renamed the DeJarnette Center for Human Development and changed its focus to the children and adolescents. So that's where I was saying, okay, it was DeJarnette for adults and then the Peary was for the children. So that's why I had a call and I had to get specifics on it because I don't want to put out wrong information. So in 1975, it was no longer a self-paying hospital. It was obviously named after Dr. DeJarnette, who was appointed the superintendent in 1905. Now, there's some articles that you'll find that say 1906, but according to the Virginia state records, it is 1905. Even though he was known to favor racial segregation and eugenics, many patients that were in there were treated horrific. Now, I know I've talked about horrific treatment of patients before, but what went on at DeJarnette? No. I mean, I just couldn't believe what was going on there between the eugenics and the segregation and then the being locked up, sterilizations. Of course, they had the hydrotherapy, which was a normal treatment at the time, lobotomies, which was a normal treatment at the time, electric shock therapy, another normal treatment at the time. And this was the first one that I heard of patients actually being shackled to the walls. And when they had like a hot temper, they would take them and they would put them in a shower, have them face the wall, hands up on the wall with their back face towards whoever had the hose. Now, when I'm talking a hose, I'm not talking your garden hose. I'm talking a powerful hose. And they would hose the patient down with this full force of water. I can't even imagine. It had to hurt. It really had to hurt. And, it was just like there were no limits at this hospital. With Dr. DeJarnette, there was no limits. So there was a lot, like I said, a lot going on there. The DeJarnette Sanatorium also changed its name multiple times. First, it was the DeJarnette Sanatorium. Second was in 1934, which is 2 years after it opened. It was named the DeJarnette State Sanatorium. Then, third, it became the Children's Hospital. And then it was called the DeJarnette Center for Human Development. And last, before becoming abandoned, it was named the Commonwealth Center for Children and Adolescents. And with that name change, it relocated in 1996 to a 48-bed facility, leaving the once called DeJarnette building abandoned. They had to get rid of the DeJarnette name attached to the mental hospital. Obviously, as time went on, years went on, a lot of what was going on in that time period is definitely not accepted anymore. Unfortunately, both Western State and DeJarnette still both have very bad reputations, but you know, it's this one man was connected to 3 mental hospitals: Western State, the DeJarnette Sanatorium, and the Peary Building. And we're going to get a little bit more into all of that in a few minutes. So the address of the DeJarnette and Peary Building is 1290 Richmond Avenue in Staunton, Virginia. A place with a notoriously brutal past, as well as a notoriously haunted surrounding. The buildings that are now abandoned and left to be ruined, I mean, just literally ruined, now with very little left inside but metal bed frames in some of the rooms or in the hall. There's rusted elevators, a hydrotherapy shower, the morgue, which is said to be in the basement, but I have not seen any proof of it. I've just heard people say that the morgue is in the basement of the DeJarnette Center. The attic, which I have seen video footage of people in there, and it just looks so dangerous. So if you do happen to go there, do not go to the attic. Like, it looks really dangerous in there. It looks like those floors are just going to cave right through. So there's a lot of collapsing walls up on the floors as they go higher, and then of course down lower. And it's just super dangerous, super dangerous. So if you go there, please, I'm trying to instill this in my paranormal friends. If you go there, be extremely cautious. So at one point, there was up to 1,200 mentally ill patients that were receiving forced sterilization between the years of 1932 and 1960. The old building was purchased by the nearby Frontier Culture Museum and Ghost Tours, which at one time they were allowed to go in there. In 2016, Ghosts of Staunton announced that on April 16th, they will no longer do tours, that the Frontier Culture Museum requested no more tours as the buildings were declared unsafe to be near or around. Staunton police monitor the grounds, and they do arrest people for trespassing if caught. They don't play around over there because of how dangerous that the buildings are. And that is actually who I spoke with. I spoke to the Frontier Culture Museum, and they were so nice. And you know, I asked them if I can give them a huge shout out in the video, and they said yes. So I definitely want to give them a huge shout out. If you are in Virginia, they do have beautiful tours that you can go on, and they are very knowledgeable of the DeJarnette and Peary buildings and the land, the cemeteries. So if you're in Virginia and you do want to check something out, I would go to the Frontier Museum and see what you can do over there. Like the tours I've heard are beautiful. So in the DeJarnette building, the third floor has the concrete from outside of the wall collapsing and taking it down all the way to the first floor, which can be seen if you're standing on the third floor balcony. So if you do decide to go to this building, you know why it's not allowed. One very important thing to remember about the DeJarnette building is the real horrors of the DeJarnette Sanatorium came from the doctor that gave the hospital its name. So, guys, I know I've repeated this so many times, and we're going to get into the paranormal a little later, but I know, again, paranormal friends, you want to see what you can find out there. It's not worth your life. Okay, I have video footage, which I will have in a special video of its own in the series, but don't risk your life. When the third floor wall is, third floor upstairs, the wall is coming all the way down to the first floor, ground floor, and you can see it. It's not worth it. So another thing that was very interesting when I called the Frontier Culture Museum was I was questioning about the Peary building. I knew the building was there, but I didn't honestly know exactly what it was used for at the time. DeJarnette was built in 1932, and the Peary building was built in 1938. And combined, the two buildings were considered the DeJarnette Sanatorium with a total of 171 beds. But the Peary building was for women only. So I wasn't able to find any of that anywhere in my research, the Virginia records, anywhere. I was not able to find any of that information about the Peary building. And honestly, we were very back and forth, Sally and I. What did Peary have and what did DeJarnette have and what was DeJarnette used for and what was Peary? So, we went back and forth a lot. And so I called the Frontier Culture Museum, which if you want to go, I did it again. I asked them if I could talk about their museum and asked if I can give the phone number. So the phone number is 540-332-7850. And they just asked, don't call to ask questions about DeJarnette and the Peary. If you're looking to schedule a tour, then of different things that they have, then they would be more than happy to speak with everybody. But again, that phone number was 540-332-7850. I looked up their reviews and everybody just has absolutely amazing things to say about them. And she did confirm with me that the morgue is in the basement and it's underneath the lower sun porch on the south end of the building. So I was able to get confirmation on that. And she also, again, like I said, went over the asbestos and the lead. The walls came caving in. And at one point, the DeJarnette building, I guess as time went on and things were a little bit more accepted, it was for male and female. And older teenage women, when they were determined a teenager, that's when they were considered a woman and they would go to the Peary building. So in 1996, like I said, the whole entire DeJarnette complex was for children, and then it moved into its own building. The lands over there, she also told me, which again, I was not able to find in any of the research. So I was kind of really happy that I made this phone call because it really brought a lot together for me. She told me that there was a tennis court there. There was a 9-hole golf course on the property. At one time, there was a pool, which that was the only thing that I was actually, able to find information on when I was researching, is that, yeah, DeJarnette and Peary had a pool, but it didn't last long. They closed it not long after opening. So, it was just very interesting to speak with them. And they had used the golf course, she said, and the tennis court was actually used for therapy. And then after 1975 is when they put the above ground concrete pool in, and it only lasted a short time, she said, probably until about 1980. And it was due to the cost of the insurance for having a pool on the property. So again, very interesting to find out. And she said that in 1975, when it was renamed the DeJarnette Center for the Human Development, that there was a new center building that was constructed that connected the two sanitarium buildings together. So if you look at the pictures, in this video, you'll see the two buildings, and then there's like maybe a 1 or 2 story connection between the two. And it was the hallway that went through. It's only 1 story. But was built after the fact to connect DeJarnette to Peary, so they could walk back and forth between the two buildings. So again, very interesting information that I was able to find out speaking to them. And, it's sometimes, even if you go to the state records, information that you're looking for, it's not going to be in there. So I said, well, who better to call than this museum, who is literally on the same grounds. It said that when you go to the museum there, you can see the DeJarnette and Peary building from there. That's how close they were. They share actual land. So that was pretty cool to find out. I'm kind of doing this video from my mind. I didn't really write a script on this one because the conversation with them, I knew so much off the top of my head. So I'm sorry if I'm kind of jumping back and forth. I do apologize for that, but like I said, I'm human. I make mistakes, but this video is very non-scripted. It's just from having a wonderful conversation with these people. But she did also tell me that in 1975, when it was turned into the Children's Hospital, the ground floor was the kitchen, and the medical supply room was also on the ground floor. They boarded up all the windows and, of course, got rid of, the glass, because over time people went in there and vandalizing it. So they boarded them all up. There's pentagrams on the floors in the buildings, which, a lot of people were, when they go in there, they're like, oh, I'm not going in that room. But there's, surprisingly, a lot of pentagrams on the floor. And he also told me that patients over the age of 21 were transferred to the new campus of Western State Hospital, which moved down the road in Staunton to its current location, which is parallel to the DeJarnette Center, just on the opposite side of Richmond Road. So when patients were aging out, their age out was 21, they would go to Western State, which was Dr. DeJarnette's original building. So again, a lot of very interesting information. And then what else did she tell me? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. In 1972, the General Assembly, the Commission of Mental Health and Geriatric Patients, the commissioner recommended that the DeJarnette Center be used for that, but I do know that they had built a different building for geriatrics. And so guys, that's the DeJarnette and the Peary. Again, Western State was opened in 1828. 1905, DeJarnette was already superintendent. By 1932, he had his second hospital named after him, but mostly ran the DeJarnette Center, which that poem that I had read to you in an earlier video, they have said numerous times that Dr. DeJarnette was known to roam the halls reciting that poem, and a lot of paranormal investigators that have gone there claim to actually see him wandering the halls, and sometimes can actually hear the words from that poem, which that was probably one of the most disgusting poems I've ever had to read in my life. Just to think that somebody purposely wrote that was sickening. But yeah, so again, if you guys want me to make that video on all of the buildings, please just comment below and I will do it. The research is done already. I just have to put a video together. I don't want to do it if nobody's gonna watch it. But again, like I said, the morgue is confirmed to be in the basement. That's where the hydrotherapy was. And patients actually on the land where the museum was, patients used to work on that land, and it was part of their therapy. But it was also part of Dr. DeJarnette getting free work, as he put it. He had, a whole building down in Western State built by the patients, and he didn't have to lay out a dime, which he was very happy to brag about. This man, I can't believe that what this man got away with was allowed. It's just, how is it allowed? But so, also that shower that I told you about earlier, is in the basement with the hydrotherapy tubs and where the morgue was. That shower had 16 heads on it, and it had a 360-degree spray. How crazy is that? I mean, these are pictures that I've seen. Like I said, this is my 4th series on mental institutions and trying to bring attention to what people's families had to go through back in the day that had mental issues, even if it, just anxiety, depression. These are things that they endured, and how they were treated was in no way right. When I was researching, I did Kings Park, I did Willowbrook, I did Pilgrim State. This is number 4 that Sally had asked me, do this hospital in Virginia. And then when we got into it and I started seeing the treatments, guys, when we get to that video, I'm already putting out a trigger warning. Just prepare yourselves now for what you're about to find out. Well, you know a lot of it already, but what you're about to see. Because our family members, even if we didn't know them, our ancestors in the 1800s may have been in this facility and may have had to endure what went on there. And today, in today's age, mental health is just finally being acknowledged. I don't know if I would even say it's being accepted. I honestly don't. I think, in many ways, it's still not accepted it's just, people look at you like, really, get over it. And that's just a bunch of BS. Like, anybody that says that, oh, come on, you can do it. Well, what are you upset about? Put your big girl panties on and deal with it. No, anxiety, depression, and mental illness is a real thing. And I will continue to call out hospitals over and over and over again. And I will continue to be thankful for all of our ancestors who unfortunately had to be guinea pigs to get us to somewhere comfortable where treatment is today, and how it's just now beginning to be accepted. So, again, I just want to put out to anybody whose family member was in one of these facilities, my full heart is to you and your family, and to anybody dealing with a mental illness. It's not easy getting out of bed in the morning. It's not easy for some just taking a step out their front door. Not even just, leaving, just taking that step out the front door, maybe going to the mailbox. And this does not make people a bad person. And back in the early 1900s, 1800s, our family members were put in institution behind cages, indoors, that had rooms that had, just a bed and a toilet in it, like a jail cell. They were referred to as inmates. They were, neglected, malnourished, drugged. People's family members died because, we didn't like what political party was running the hospital at the time. These are things that really went on. And like I said, I will continue to call out hospital after hospital, because you know what? You might not have had the right medical treatment at the time in the 1800s and early 1900s, but everybody should know compassion. And to sit down and maybe have a conversation with somebody and find out why they became, as they use it, hot-headed, why they became that way. Let's get to the root of the problem. What set you off? Did somebody say something to you? Did somebody touch you and you don't like to be touched? No, instead, let's put them in an ice bath. Let's put them in a 360, 16 head shower and spray them down and try to cool them off. If that doesn't work, let's do a lobotomy and shock therapy. Oh, by the way, why don't we just give them extra drugs? And, it's just, when I think about everything that we have learned with DeJarnette and the others that I have covered, my heart just truly goes out to all families that have family members suffering with mental illness. And my heart, and I know Sally's heart, truly goes out to each and every one of you that get up every day. And as hard as it is, you get up and you walk out your front door and you just made it to the mailbox, because you know what? That's a great thing that you did, because it wasn't easy to do, but you did it anyway. So our thoughts and our prayers are with all of you always. And again, we do apologize for a lot of the things that had to be discussed in this video series. And just, again, no, it's not us. And I know that you guys know that, but having to repeat it, the words are coming out of my mouth, and it's not easy to say a lot of, the racism and the sterilization and stuff like that. But guys, I'm gonna leave it off here. Remember to watch the rest of the video, because you never know what surprises lurk there. I try to put a little extra something. But again, we'll see you next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Remember to slam that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And Sally and I thank you from the bottom of our heart for all of your continued support. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching. Please remember to hit that notification bell so you don't miss part 5 next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also remember to slam that like button. Docu-series credits. Research done by Mystery Sister Sally. Location suggestion: Mystery Sister Sally. Research and script: Mystery Girl with Missy. Video and voiceover: Mystery Girl with Missy. Thank you again, and we will see you next week.
Hey, Mystery Crew. Well, that's the end of this episode, but don't forget to tune in next Wednesday at 8 p.m. for the next part. We truly appreciate all of your support and for you being here for this series. I just want to tell you, remember, every day's a mystery.